Hi guys, so today I'll be trying out the Spellbinders new June 2021 APG of the month. This month it is the Victorian Splendor Slimline, I believe is what it's called. Spellbinders did send these items free of charge from my review, and all opinions are my own. And any links I have in the description box will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items to those links. Just at the top here, I do get a lot of questions. Again, this is the Spellbinders kit of the month. So for June, this is what you will be receiving if you're already signed up. If you sign up today, they have changed some different things. You'll definitely want to look at the frequently asked questions. I'll have the links in the description box. Having to do with when you actually sign up, and then if you're wanting to skip a month, the skip option is not available anymore. Now what you do is just cancel that specific club, and they have different clubs. So if you want to pick up the, let's say, the small die and the stamp or something like that, you would have, those are two different clubs, but it's under your portal, right? So you can always play around with that. You can change to a value club. You can change the value club to a single, item club, however you want to play with that. But the skip function is not there anymore. You would just simply cancel for that month and then add it again at the beginning of the next month. Having said that, they are going to have a area of the month, basically the last week of the month, where you cannot sign up for this current month. It used to be that even if you signed up on the 29th, let's say, or the 30th of the month, you'll still get that same kit, like this same kit that I'm showing, let's say, for June. But now that last week will be blacked out. You cannot sign up at that time. So you do want to do these things within the first 3 weeks of the month. Again, all that info will be there. One other question I got really quickly about this month's kits. Somebody had asked about the stamp. And I didn't have a chance to respond in the comments, so I just want to respond. This is the stamp of the month for June. Great way to get into the club kits. Again, it's $10 a month, and photopolymer stamp set that coordinates back to some of the kits, and some of them are just more free-flowing, however you want to use it. The question was if it works with last month's small die of the month, which unfortunately I didn't get a chance to try out yet. I will play with that this month for you guys. But she means like in this circular area, and I was like, oh, it sure does. So hopefully that answers your question. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get back to you exactly there. But yeah, I mean, it goes right in there. It looks like you can use that middle die. So there it is. Which might lead you to ask the question, does the large die of this month go back into the circles of that one? I don't see why not. They're circles. I mean, they're concentric. So however you want to use that. Okay, back to the APG. I just wanted to answer those questions. Sorry, let me get some less glare here for you guys. So this is, again, the Victorian Slimline, or Splendor Slimline. Lots of layers. I measured this in the last video. This is a 5x7, completely a 5x7. So if you want to cut that out and cover of a 5x7 card base, boom, you got it right there. We have these strips here that would make this here, where you can just cut that piece. You can cut it with this beautiful inlay. Let me see about how big this one is. Give you guys that info. It is just about 1 3/4 inch by 6 5/8 or so. And so of course this one is the same length, but a little bit different in the width. We have this one here. And this one, the width is just about 2 3/4, just a little smaller than 2 3/4. And so you have the inlay, or just, use the frame. And then we have these two guys here. It's kind of like a tag. Actually, it's 3 different pieces. So we have this guy. You can cut this piece into that, so it makes like a little frame. You can not use that. You can just use this thing. You can cut this on its own paper that will then layer over that. You can also inlay this into that portion, or inlay it to this portion if you like, however you want to play with those. We have these really pretty kind of label tag type things. And then it comes with some little flowers that you can then embellish your cards or however you would like with. So what I'm going to do is grab some papers and we will jump right in. I think I'm going to make a 5x7 card, which is not my typical card size, and I think that'll be fun for today. The reason it's called Slimline is because, as you see, the pieces are slim and you can double them up, whatever it is you have to do, because obviously this is shorter than a typical Slimline. It's usually about 8.5 inches, and this is about 7. Some of the examples that you might have seen there on Spellbinder's site is to basically take this portion and add it again on each edge, and it'll bring out your slimline that way, however you like to use it. A little bit too long for a mini slimline, because those are usually like 6 inches long, and this again is just under 7 inches. So however you want to play with it, but I'm going to make a typical 5x7. Let me grab some papers and we'll get started. Okay guys, this is going to be a little different. I was looking at my colors and I'm like, how can I kind of layer them up? I'm going to use both panels. Why not? Right on the front of our 5x7. Kind of reminds me of like a screen door, kind of old school. So what I did was I cut down some cream colored cardstock to make a 5x7 card base from an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, our standard A2 size that we usually have here in the US. You're going to want to cut your paper an inch off the 11-inch side, right? And then 7 on the 8.5-inch side. And then we're just going to score it at 5 inches. So it's 10 by 7 scored at 5 inches. And just making a card base. Now, I did make my own mat for this because I kind of wanted it like just going in instead of having just the larger 5x7 like this guy right on top. So I just grabbed some dusty colors that kind of were together in a paper pack I had, and I thought, you know what, these look lovely, like those two. And then these are just cream colored papers that I happen to have. So I cut this one to, let me make sure, 6 3/4 by 4 3/4. So it's just inside this guy. And I'm just going to glue that down. So I'll glue that down. It's our card base. And then for these pretty things, I have these guys. And I want the blue to be on top, I think, just so that blue pops. So I have a darker kind of brown. It's not quite craft cardstock, but, you know, craft cardstock would work too. I'm going to pop that on there. I'm just going to cut this one just like this. And I'm going to cut this one just like this. Okay, die facing down. I know a lot of times I'm not sure where people are in their crafting journey, and I've had that question before. So the part that's, you know, has that raised cutting edge needs to face your paper. And if I was to run these two together, I would glue it down, not glue it down, tape it down. Don't glue them down. I would just tape them down so that they don't move on their way through the die cutting machine. So I'll do those with the brown, and on this blue paper, so pretty, I will do the same thing, but this time I'll include the inserts. So they're both the same, and if you want to switch out the colors, I think that would look lovely too, like the topper on this other side, but I'm just going to go with the same. And again, we will definitely tape these down so they do not move. Try to line it up so that they're, you know, kind of the same all around there. And I would put quite a bit of tape on something like this because you don't want it to move while it's in your machine. And it depends on the kind of machine you're using. If it's the kind where you're going to hold it anyway until it kind of goes through. If it's the kind that you pretty much just let it go, then you really want to make sure you're taping it down and keeping an eye that it does not move. It's happened to me once before with a die, and basically the one just went over the other one and it kind of like crunched it, and it still worked, but you don't want to put that through your machine. That's the other thing. So you don't want to mess up your die, but you also don't want your machine to have something doubled up, especially metal like that. That can mess it up. Okay, so since I already have these taped down, I'm just going to trim this down a little bit and then run it through my die cutting machine. So when I come back, I'll have these pieces, I'll have this piece, and we'll layer up our base card. As I cut these out, I just want to show you the excess part. I mean, how pretty is that in there? And then you could always, even if you wanted a paper piece like this back in, I mean, it's a big piece of paper there in the center. It's stuck down because of my tape there. But let's say you cut this out like in an ivory color or some other color and you just pop that back in there. Oh my goodness, you guys. So pretty. And, you know, same thing with this guy. Look at this. All these pieces, you can definitely paper piece back in is what I was going to say. Okay, let me complete my cuts. I'll be right back. So we have our card base here, and then we're just going to stick these layers together, however you like to do that. Hardly ever think of using the Xyron sticker maker, but you can always run it through those. I just kind of do this kind of thing. And I'm just going to add a little glue, and whatever I don't get, I'm going to put a little glue on the back of my hand. So I'm just kind of going for the larger areas. But if you want to put glue on the back of your hand like this, kind of flatten it out. So when you go to dip this on your hand, it's not just like coming through completely. And that'll get you all those little spots that you might have missed. And I'm just going to layer that right over our base piece. Same thing with the other guy, with this one, okay? And I will be right back. Okay guys, so basically I'm going to stick these down like this. I do have this guy. I'm going to cut this one out in the lightest beige color that I have back there. And then I think I'm going to top it with the beige, that second kind of deeper beige that I have here, not the brown, but you know how I have these two beige colors. So lightest beige, I'm going to cut this guy out by himself in the deeper beige color. And then on top of that, I'm going to top it with a die cut word. So it's very clean die cut card. I have these sentiments I picked up not too long ago in one of the sales. Actually, that reminds me, Spellbinders is having their pre-summer sale right now too. But I'm going to use, I think the words, I mean, there's a ton of words on here. So sympathy, wishes, sending, congrats, thinking of you, or thinking of, you know, whatever it is that you want to put together. I think I'm going to do with love. So I have love here and with. So I'll cut those out with the blue paper, I believe, because just to pop that up a little bit more too. So with these guys, I'm just going to stick them down. If you want to raise one up or raise them both up or even run a ribbon behind them and make a little bow there, I think that'd be really nice too. Lots of ways to play this up here. So I'm just going to glue these down. Now, if you can see my spacing the way I cut it, there's a little bit more space in between these guys going this way than there is up and down. If you want to change your dimensions when you go to cut your paper, that's up to you, of course. I'm just going to glue them right about here. So kind of more centered, leaving a little extra on the sides. Okay, I'll glue the other one just the exact same way. I'll come back with my die cuts. And it feels so sturdy and beautiful. I love it. Okay, so I have my with love, and they are still tucked in there. I left them that way. So you want to push your little ejector buttons and get that out. So pretty. And then, so we have this piece here. So what I'm going to do is just glue the one to the other. I will use some dimensional adhesive to put this whole thing on here. But for now, these two are just going to be flat. And then the with love, again, I'll put the glue on the back of my hand. I actually just cleaned it up and I was like, oh, I forgot I still gotta do my little letters, my little words here. Hold on, let's make sure that's nice and straight. It's so pretty because it echoes completely, even the little edge in here, because the way the die is created, it was made, it has that. You can emboss it, make it a little more pronounced. But look at the little dots in here. You see those little, so pretty. Okay. And then we have, let me see if I can pick this up a little differently. I'm going to glue that down again, glue on the back of my hand. I'll dab, dab, dab. And then I'll put this down here, just on there like that. Okay, I'll be back. Okay guys, so all I'm just going to do is take this off the back. I just put some big hunks of dimensional adhesive. And you know, we have our little flowers. I mean, we can dress it up with that. Very simple, cute little flowers. If you notice, the dies will cut a ton of them at the same time. Let's go over just a little bit more this way. And I'm just completely eyeballing this, but if you guys like to use some kind of rulers and things like that, then go for it. You know, the little flowers, it cuts several out at once, and you can just layer them up or you just use them flat like that. We have the little leaves, really adorable. I grabbed some lace. I was just looking for, I would love to have some seam binding, but I went looking for some and I did not find it, so I'm gonna have to do that again. So I have this cool lace. It's kind of like, you know, we could have run it through behind here across the whole thing. That would have been very sweet. I suppose I still could just add it there. But what I thought was I'll make a bow. And I want to make it a little bit loopy, a little bit bigger. So I'm just going to do this. I'm not going to do it several times like I normally do, but I'm keeping my fingers kind of separate. Usually I go back and forth a few times, but I think that'll be too much for this kind of lace. So if I had it here and I did this, we need to complete the bow. I need enough to kind of go through and pull, so I'm just going to cut that off. So we have this out here. So it's here basically, but we want to complete this loop. So I'm going to go around here, go over everything, and come back up under that line that we just made, this area here, and then pull it tight. So it's a little bit different because it's lace. We'll see how this turns out. Ooh. So cute. I didn't know what to expect because I was like, well, I've never really done this with like lace like this. And you can adjust your bow. Obviously, I'll cut the extra off there. Oh my gosh. I love that. I don't know if I want to put it here, here, down here, in the very center. I mean, there's lots of, I was planning on putting it just like here, like a little diary kind of looking, you know what I'm saying? that's what I'll do. Okay, so I'm going to glue that down probably with some hot glue. So I'm just going to heat up my hot glue gun and literally just put a little dab there and stick that on there. So pretty. I love the very country feel of this. Victorian Splendor, as it were. Very pretty. So thank you so much, Spellbinders, for sending these items for my review. You guys, I'll have the links there. Again, check out the new club info. I'm just going to trim this down to make it look more appropriate there. And there you go. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye now.